Welcome to the Westminster Effects Doxology Podcast, where we exist for the glory of God and the tone of his people. I'm Cody Fields. Go buy stuff for your guitar at westminstereffects.com. And join the discussion in the Westminster Effects Green Room on Facebook. In person, I'm joined by...
Hey everybody, Bradley Cox, pastor at Resurrection Church in Greer, South Carolina.
And via the interwebs, making him 1 for 1 in 2026.
That is something. Hey everybody, it is good to be back. John Ross, the Admiral of Augsburg, coming at you. I don't even remember what I used to say. Some Westminster Effects artist, some
we have
superlative.
Very high expectations for your intro, John.
Right?
You're letting us down.
It's just rust is all. It's just rust.
It's patina.
That's just a fancy word for rust. So, in the last couple of episodes, we've gone into the controversy with Skillet and the non-controversy, as John put it, with their rendition of O Come, Emmanuel. We've also talked about effectively some of the responses from that rendition of O Come, Emmanuel, and people saying, yes, this scream and the breakdown and the heaviness mirrors exactly what I felt. And we kind of got into, well, we do need to think well about Christians don't just need major key happy clappy music. And so, as we are wont to do, I figured, hey, let's look at some lyrics of maybe darker, maybe moodier songs and not exhaust the song entirely, but maybe do something that we've done repeatedly here is look at lyrics and say, hey, is this cool for Christians to listen to and enjoy? And if so, where do we root our thinking? Does that sound good to y'all?
Mm-hmm. I think that's okay. Fine. Although the recovering emo kid bringing up moody music Bring Back the Lip Ring.
Don't worry about it, John. Yeah, you just keep chuckling over there, John.
This is going to be my featured clip, just me laughing like a goon on camera.
Yeah. I mean, there are worse. Never mind. All right. There's too many different directions to go with that, and I'm not going to go any of them. So, easiest, in my opinion. So let's start with Monster by Skillet, since we just referenced Skillet. Skillet being the renowned Christian hard rock band, and this from their 2009 album, Awake. And this is the most streamed Christian song on Spotify ever. They just hit 1 billion streams.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I didn't realize they'd been around that long.
Yeah, they've been around a minute.
09.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been around 30 years now. So
30 years?
Yeah.
How old is what's his name?
John's 50. John and Corey are 50.
He's older than me?
Yeah. How's that make you feel, Bradley?
I feel good about myself.
Look what you could have done.
I know. So maybe it makes me feel worse. I haven't done enough with my life. I'm happy if I get like 50 views on Facebook and he's got 1 billion streams on it.
All right. First verse. The secret side of me I never let you see. I keep it caged, but I can't control it. So stay away from me. The beast is ugly. I feel the rage, and I just can't hold it. Let's just go on to verse 2 as well.
I was going to say, by far, that's my favorite Disney movie.
Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where this is from, right? This is from the
this
stage
was
production.
From the live action soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's scratching on the walls, in the closet, in the halls. It comes awake and I can't control it, hiding under the bed, in my body, in my head. Why won't somebody come and save me from this? Make it end.
Sounds a lot like Romans 7.
Yeah, that was exactly what was going through my head. What you got, John?
There was I can't remember it. I think Darius Rucker had a featured thing on it, but there was a song recently about something about the weight of being a man or something along those lines. It wasn't a Christian song or anything, but it was referenced in a as a sermon illustration at some point over the last year. And I think back to that song, at least bits and pieces of it. And this is very reminiscent of that. The tendency for a lot of people, but in the context of the song I'm thinking of, men in particular, to call them strong emotions, right? Bundled up to maintain that facade, that gate, to prevent people from coming in, from seeing it. And it does feel, right, ripping you aside from the inside out. So I don't think that this is a lyric to shy away from, or something that is a foreign feeling at all.
Yeah. Let's hit the chorus real quick. I feel it deep within. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess that I feel like a monster. I hate what I've become. The nightmare's just begun. I must confess that I feel like a monster. More of that Romans 7, more of that things that you don't feel like you can actually express to anybody, tearing you apart inside.
This is really, this is what I think the church struggles with the most, is how, people talk about it all the time, about how people come to church and they put on the facade, they put on the mask, they pretend.
Yep.
And why is it that we do that? I think it's because there is a theological problem for us. We struggle to reconcile. If any man is in Christ, he's a new creation. All things have passed away. Everything has become new. We've been born again by the Spirit. We reckon ourselves dead to sin and alive to God in Christ. There's no condemnation. We are indwelt permanently by the same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead. We've been buried with Christ in baptism, raised to new life in Him. All of that is true, and yet here's what we know, and I heard somebody years and years ago, a pastor, talk about this in a sermon. There's a monster in there still.
Yeah.
Even though I'm born again. And if I feed him, he just gets hungrier.
Yep.
The goal is to starve him. The goal is to, lean in all the more into this new self. We've put on the new self, right?
Vody Balcom used to refer to this as bad Vody, who would want to come out and tear people's heads off.
No, seriously. Yeah. It's like, and I think it's a legitimate tension that we hold as new covenant believers. How is it that this radical transformation that Jesus described as being born again has taken place, and yet there's still this monster? And thank God for Paul. And some people think that Paul in Romans 7 is talking about his pre-conversion experience, and I don't think so. I think he's talking about post Damascus Road Paul, who and here's the key, and John in his lyrics, he's going there. I feel it deep within. It's just beneath the skin. I must confess, I feel like a monster. I hate what I've become.
Yeah.
And for Paul to say, I don't do the things I want to do, and the things I do want to do, I don't do. There's an affection change that accompanies salvation, that even though that monster still exists, we hate the monster. And we love the new creation in Christ. And that struggle, it's hard in the context of the local church, at least in our part of the world, to be raw and honest about that. And so we need Skillet. We need, kudos to John and Skillet for writing a song that, puts to music this battle that we all fight.
And a couple years ago, the first time I interviewed him for the podcast, I'm pretty sure he talked about this in the recording, is that night before that show at their VIP meet and greet, a girl came through and was like, that song turned my life around. Like, because I didn't have the words to describe those things that I was feeling, and this song gave me the words and helped me get through whatever point in my life was.
And like you were saying earlier, you don't write this song in a major key with flutes.
Right.
It needs a tuned down electric with some distortion on it.
Right. John, any final thoughts on this song before we move on to the next one?
Same perspective. I think this is a great example of the doctrine of old man, new man, old Adam, new Adam. You call it what you will. Thinking somewhat reminiscent of some of the language in an older, admittedly Lutheran hymn, "God's Own Child, I Gladly Say It." It's a baptismal hymn, but where that hymn goes, where this song doesn't, is that reconciliation piece,
right?
And so that is one thing that in this particular set of lyrics that we don't have. Is any sort of payoff, any denouement for you literary folks? There's no resolution, and I think that's almost telling as well, because how often do we feel that when our head hits the pillow that there's been no resolution with the struggles of the day or the week or the life even.
I mean, I've had conversations with men, and I'm not just talking about like the context where I'm discipling somebody, but it's a mutual kind of accountability setting where we're asking each other like things like, is this battle with lust ever going to end? Is the fight to resist the temptation to let my anger overtake me? Am I ever going to grow beyond that? I mean, I do think that the Christian life lived out is one where we grow and sin less. Mm-hmm. We're not sinless, but we sin less. Mm-hmm. But even Jesus was tempted in every way, yet without sin. He battled temptation his entire, incarnation. He's still incarnate, but like his earthly ministry, he battled it, and I heard somebody say one time, like we don't know resisting temptation at the level that Jesus experienced it, because he never gave in. And we know this, that the more you resist, sometimes the greater the temptation becomes. So I think a lack of resolution is okay. I mean, this is not a hymn we're going to sing on Sunday morning, but it's good.
We don't need every Christian song to be a systematic theology completely fleshing out the doctrine, right?
Sure. Right. Nor do we need the resolution of it in each song. There's this temptation, even if we do spin this towards music used in corporate worship. There's this feeling like, whether you're an author or whether you're a worship leader choosing something, or whether you're a pastor selecting a hymn, that we want something that kind of portrays that whole counsel of God in the lyrics of a song, from creation to the fall, to incarnation, to resurrection. And it's difficult to do in 3 verses, a bridge, and a chorus. And so often, again, not using this in corporate worship, but I think it can stand as encouragement for us who are doing some sort of ministry planning, that we don't, not every element of a service or a devotion time needs to come to closure, right?
Yep.
Closure is realized in the reality of Christ through the entirety of Scripture.
Yeah.
So not everything that draws from that or draws truth from that needs to capture that, at least at that single point in time.
Yep. All right, next song, not a Christian song, by Alkaline Trio. So Alkaline Trio being on the darker end of the pop punk spectrum. Pun intended, I guess. I don't know. But their song Crawl from their 2001 album From Here to Infirmary. And they are clever in their lyrics oftentimes.
Oh, yeah.
And them being a trio, guitar, drums, bass, they kind of do the Blink-182 thing where most of the time it's Matt Skiba on guitar taking the lead vocal. This one is their bassist on lead vocal. And interestingly, this is one of those interesting things with more alternative forms of music. He has a lisp. Like, he has a legitimate speech impediment. He's not going to be with the New York Philharmonic with his voice, but he found an outlet here, right? So here we go, verse 1. So this song goes verse 1, verse 2, hook, and then it goes back to verse 1. So anyway, verse 1, waking up, zeroed in on medicine. Am I waking up at all today? Seeing lights, feeling pain, there's my cure on ice. I can walk, but I will crawl there. I will crawl there. And then verse 2, sitting straight, feeling faint, an exhausted smile screens my words, but I will hear them. Here's a phrase that we all know, but I can't make sense. I don't know words, but I will hear them. I still hear them.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, so, I'm trying to pull that apart too. I mean, I think we're here on ice. I think we're talking about like an alcohol thing.
Yep.
I thought medicine, thought drugs, or something.
Yeah, some sort of substance abuse, right? Kind of putting up again that theme of facade coming back to us in this song. This sitting up straight and an exhausted smile, trying to put on that, put on the Ritz for those around us. But yeah, Cody, what's your take on the screens my words, but I will hear them. I don't know words, but I will hear them.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, that's informed by the first and third lines, particularly waking up zeroed in on medicine. I'm trying to cope with something, trying to get through whatever, and my cure is there on ice, right? So bourbon on the rocks or whatever, right? And that second line, am I waking up at all today? Well, the goal is to not, right? So even though he's sitting up straight and he's plastered a smile on, he's tuned everything out, right? So I don't know words, but I still hear them, right? You're talking to me. I'm not paying attention at all.
Okay.
Could be because he's sloshed out of his mind.
Sure, and that if we take it, looking at the second kind of verse 1a, call it, the way that you have it written on the show notes, it has it as a separate line, but I think the lyric is probably sitting straight, feeling faint, an exhausted smile screens my words.
Yes.
That I will hear them.
Yes.
That would be my assumption. And again, it's back to that facade, keeping up appearances, trying to hide the problem, hide the pain. That sort of theme is what I'm picking up now.
Yeah. This chorus is pretty cleverly written. Never ran away for the sake of scars, tried not to move, but she was armed, and shots were fired. Now a hole in the head of this wounded liar. Never had a drink that I didn't like. Got a taste of you, threw up all night. I got more sick with every sour second-rate kiss, everything I never would miss again. So it seems to me that he's combining both substance abuse, alcoholism, with the effects or the causation, or even paralleling it with some form of toxic relationship.
I would say the parallelism here.
Yeah.
If everything ultimately is an illustration of the effects of alcoholism, right? Shot in the head, right? Or the hole in the head, rather. Never had a drink I didn't like. That can't put it down. Got a taste of you. That I can stop any time, but you have that one drink. An alcoholic has one drink, and then it's all it's all gone from there. This chorus feels like a lament of the substance abuse, right? Rather than something glorification of it or otherwise.
Right. Yeah. Everything I never would miss again.
Yeah.
Right. If I could finally kick this, I'm not going to miss any of this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's raw. I mean, it's real.
So can a Christian listen to this in good conscience?
Yeah.
Compared to some of other Alkaline Trio songs, I think this one may be in the running for ones that are more generally okay.
This is not me endorsing everything that Alkaline Trio has ever put out.
Right. Despite how compelling their guitar work is.
Yeah.
Looking at that last line, which you kind of skipped over, now I don't know. I don't know who your boyfriend is. I mean, that cries to me of identity. right? The song is kind of dressed like you got it's dressed in this sort of toxic relationship thing. I don't think it's really that at all. I think it is pure alcoholism, and this person is losing his identity to the bottle, and that last line kind of clinches it. And the song is kind of written as a reflection, not to, but towards the significant other. But to answer the question, lyrically, I mean, is this something that would be our life's anthem? Well, no.
Right.
But do lyrics like this, very similar to the last song in the anecdote you shared, have the ability to help put someone's own experience into words in a different way that they were previously unable to articulate, and make it sink in for them? That one thing that clicks, right? And could this be used? Could this be used by by the providence of God to be a route to turn someone around?
Yeah.
It could.
Yeah.
I think when secular art, poetry, music is talking about real life, I mean, like it similar to the song Monster, there's no resolution here. But it does, like Monster, it does at least orient us towards looking for a solution, looking for an answer. And so that's a good thing. I mean,
right.
When you talk about the human experience in an authentic way, it does at least aim someone at what's the answer for this. And now they're not going to find the answer in this song.
Right.
But at least that the aiming would be good. And there are Christians who battle addiction.
Yep.
There are saved people
Absolutely.
that battle addiction. And could God use this in a believer's life in a positive way? I think sure.
Yeah, and I think that
saints but still sinners.
Exactly.
Yep. I think that last line in the first verse, I can walk, but I will crawl there.
Yeah.
Right? How many Christians find themselves dragging themselves out of bed, right? Dealing with insert issue here, right? Family issues,
I do, but I
whatever.
really like my sheets. Like they're
right. Some of us just because we enjoy that bed. Yeah.
It would not be a Westminster Effects podcast with me on it if I didn't mention some sort of my Lutheran background at least 3 times. And so here's number 2. Him in segment 1 took first. So yeah, we are keeping score. So thinking of the work, the proper distinction between law and gospel by C.F.W. Walther, right? Really a kind of a breakdown of how the law and gospel dichotomy is addressed throughout Scripture, how it is to be properly applied throughout ministry. One of those, arguably, the paramount concept there is that when you are in a ministerial relationship, right, with somebody who is secure in their sin, the answer is not Jesus saves. Rather, the opening line, so to speak, is not Jesus saves, is not the application of the gospel, because if the person is secure in their sin, aside from lamenting, right, the nature of it, if someone is secure in their sin, the gospel does nothing for them because they don't realize there's a problem. The gospel is a solution in want of a problem in that case. So rather, what you do is you apply God's holy, just, and righteous law to that individual in order to drive a call to the gospel, right? There's a little tagline, and I'm not sure where this comes from. It may be from Walther himself, or might be from Bonhoeffer. I can't remember. But I'm going to have to get this right in one shot. But without the law, the gospel loses its sweetness. Without the gospel, the law loses its hope. Or something along those lines. And so, again, no resolution here, but is the reality of this song, speaking from the perspective of the experience of the person who wrote it, the person who sang it, the person who identifies with it, is that a condemnation a la God's law? It very well could be.
Yep.
Or used as such.
Yep. All right, let's see if we can get you to reference Luther one more time with this last song.
You leave that to me, buddy. We're all right.
Well, I think we'd probably procure a pretty spicy Luther quote. This is Lorna Shore from their 2021 EP, And I Return to Nothingness. And the song is To the Hellfire. This one is particularly revered among heavier music fans for, in particular forms of extreme metal. There is a vocal style called the pig squeal. We're not going to show it here. I'll show you later, Bradley. You'll get a kick out of it. But Will Ramos, who, in my opinion, is the most talented metal vocalist in the world right now, maybe ever, but he actually breaks down into a proper pig squeal. But you hear
It's
it.
just so funny.
You hear it, and it's just like, what's happening right now?
Is this group Christian?
No.
Okay.
Not in the slightest.
Not in the slightest.
And I will edit a word if we get that far. Yeah, we'll get that far. The song is 7 minutes long, so we're not going to do every single lyric. And particularly it being a deathcore song, there's a lot of words here. So I'll do the first 4 paragraphs. We'll put it that way. I'll hold on to feeling until my final breath escapes, gazing upon this world until it fades. Fall with me into the other night. We can go beyond the horizon again. Fall with me until we're out of time. Let the current swallow. These whispers keep clawing. Your mind is dissolving light. Sink while you bathe in hallucination. Accept this descent into the night, releasing your grasp to induce separation. Plunged into the shadows, lost in sensation, we're free falling down into the everblack. Can you feel it? These pins and needles. There's a lot there.
Again, I'm having to pause for a minute and try to decipher what's being talked about here.
And this is what I appreciate about particularly very heavy forms is when you get into the lyrics, you have to slow down and start to think about it. I'll do the next 2. Trapped in sensation, see what you've found here. You fell into the dark. Release your grip and face the tide. Accepting this damnation. Relinquish flesh temptation of the body and soul, the ebb and the flow. Nothing confessed. Put me to rest. Did that shed a little more light? Mayhaps.
I mean, is it a temptation? Like the temptation is like substance. Is this a substance thing? Addiction, or I don't know.
I think this is a life's end thing.
Yeah.
Like he's contemplating death.
Yes.
No,
Suicide?
I think he's at the cusp, right? I mean, it's past contemplation.
Right.
Perhaps the lyrics take place at a time of past that kind of execution, right, or mid execution. Mm-hmm. We see the thing, final breath escapes, right, the world until it fades. The other night, right? That's pretty common allegory for death. Dissolving light, descent into the night, plunged into
falling down into the
shadows.
everblack.
Right, right. Which
Okay.
that's just an awesome lyric. That's cool. And then we see all of that, and it's like, oh, well, there's a goner. And then we get release your grip and face the tide. Like quit holding on to life. Like this is defeatism.
Yep.
Almost like there is nothing left. There is no need to hold on. Just accept the damnation of body and soul. And the put me to rest line is, it seems like this is the culmination of struggle, the culmination of darkness. I mean, when we talk about those, even when Luther talked about those who were so hindered by the darkness of sin that they had taken their own life. that they had dwelt in that darkness for so long, often silently. And the appeal of that is kind of dressed up like rest, turning escapism into defeatism in this case.
Yeah. Yeah, good. Did that help you out, Bradley?
Yeah.
Okay,
no.
good. All right, let's do the hook and then the final thingy. I'll do the hook first. Azrael, guiding me beyond the veil. Obitual, free me of this mortal shell. Enter into the darkest night. I will sink where I lie, through the sands of time, through the angel's eye. My final breath, swallowed by the womb of death. So for those who are unfamiliar, I actually had to look this up, so I didn't just know off the top of my head. Azrael in Islamic theology is their angel of death, who comes and escorts you into the afterlife.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's referenced in various more modern Abrahamic and kind of Jerusalem origin traditions as well. But yeah, it's a pretty common. I mean, haven't you watched Dogma? Come on, man.
no, I haven't. So I'm sorry to disappoint you. The South Carolina side of the podcast is disappointing the Nebraskan side. So I think about, and obviously this is coming from an explicitly Christian standpoint of my final breath swallowed by the womb of death. And I go to 1 Corinthians 15. Is death is the problem, right? And there's a recognition of that here, right? Is yes, there's free me of this mortal shell, but I will sink where I lie. So there's a recognition this is the ultimate enemy, even if he doesn't have that answer, even if in that first section he's accepting the damnation, right?
Yeah.
Any other thoughts there?
I mean, I think of Psalm 116, where David is really calling out in the midst of this fear of death. The cords of death entangled me. The anguish of the grave came over me. I was overcome by distress and sorrow. But then I called on the name of the Lord. Lord, save me. And the Lord is gracious and righteous and full of compassion. Right. That is the answer to such fear of our mortality, is the reality of Christ and that reconciled relationship with the Father that brings us to new life in Him. Of course, this lyric, very much tragically, does not hit that.
Yeah.
Right. Because that's not the perspective from which this is written. Now, that's not an
Right.
excuse. That's the reality of the songwriter.
Right. Right. Last section, I will edit a word. I think there's accidentally good theology in it, though. And I'll explain why in a second. And so it repeats, sink while you bathe in hallucination, my final breath swallowed by the womb of death, as you pass through the effing gate, descending toward the end faster. So it seems from the writer's perspective, he is passing through the gates of hell, descending ever faster, right, into the ever black, as he referred to it earlier. James White has talked about in the debate between like eternal conscious torment, conditionalism, annihilationism, is there's no reference in the Bible for saying that people stop sinning once they go to hell. Once they experience that judgment, weeping and gnashing of teeth.
Right.
They're not regretting that they didn't worship the one true God. They're actually still shaking their fists at him in contempt, right? And so you have a particular word in contempt of these gates of hell, right? So I think it's accidentally good theology. It's not like he's regretting it.
Yeah.
He's just sinking more into his seething rage against God.
Yeah.
It's almost, I see where you're coming from here, right? And it is almost an acknowledgement that there is righteousness there.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is the source of that contempt, that in the midst of this, he has been judged judged against a standard that he does not know, does not care for, regardless. But nonetheless, realizes that or recognizes that standard is there, and putting it into a much less serious form, getting mad at your teacher for you failing an exam.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right? Screw you, Mr. Potter. Mr. Potter had nothing to do with it.
What did Mr. Potter do to you, John?
I never had a Mr. Potter, although I was thinking of It's a Wonderful Life. Mr. Potter took over Bailey's mortgage and loan.
I love it.
Wow.
It is a deep labyrinth.
That's so good. That's so good.
Mary, never mind. But that is how we are so often tempted to deal with things, where our knee-jerk reaction is not to accept blame, perhaps accept consequences. Right, because we can't get out of those, and that's exactly what the song's saying. It's like, just accept it, because it's yours regardless. But at that very end, in the last death throes, you're saying, "Screw you."
Yeah. Your thoughts, Bradley? This is not your taste in music.
No,
I know,
but I guess my mind is going to. I started reading. C.S. Lewis's book Miracles. Have you read that?
I have not read that one.
It's very philosophical, but he talks about the difference between a naturalist and a supernaturalist, and makes sort of like it's kind of like this book you gave me about whether or not the government should promote Christianity, and he talks about
James Baird's King of Kings.
Yeah, he talks about syllogisms, where if this is true and that is true, this must be true. And C.S. Lewis talks about the naturalist has these instincts that moral instincts and also instincts that death is wrong. Like there's something inevitably wrong about death and dying. It's unjust. We shouldn't be dying. We're people that aren't built to die. And why is that? It's because we have an eternal soul.
Yep.
And Lewis writes. I mean, I find myself reading Lewis and going, I got to reread the last 3 pages because I don't. It's hard to follow his train of thought sometimes, but
it takes me 3.5 years to get through.
Seriously, I can only read him in the morning.
This is why he also wrote fiction. You could grasp those concepts easier.
Yeah, I have to read him in the morning when my brain is freshest. But anyway, the point is, it's just interesting to me that someone who isn't a Christian, who knows what this band, this lyricist believes about eternity and life after death,
right?
Ultimately, but he's putting art to something that is almost instinctively known.
Yeah,
we deserve judgment, or judgment is coming. Whether or not we believe we deserve it, it's coming, and it's coming with death. And I don't know. That's where my mind was going. Was just that.
What strikes me about this is when we talk about the other night being an allegory for just ending in general, but the ever black. Now that could be it could be talking about the ever absence of light, which of course we would tie to almost the John 1 allegory, the light of light. But what the reality is that death is not the end. And this isn't a gospel statement necessarily for many, and we pray increasingly many that it is a gospel statement. But the reality is that it is eternal life or eternal death, which we mentioned just a few moments ago. But the reality of that is missed in this song, descending towards the end faster, right? Talking about the sense of time, everything in this song almost imagines the death as the end, and it is not. The reality of it is not the end. And that's the most tragic part of it all, is from the viewpoint of this lyricist, perhaps they are a little bit of comfort for themselves, looking forward to that final end, for it just being over. And buddy, it's just begun. The consequences of your severed relationship with the Father have just begun.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the most gut-wrenching part when you really start diving into it.
And in thinking about when was the last time you heard a CCM song along these lines? Right. Literally the only Christian song I'm familiar with that even approaches this is the song Reprobate by the band Reformed. And I know this won't mean anything to Bradley, but they're basically a Christian periphery. And they're pretty heavy. I think you have to be fairly heavy to broach that this subject.
Right. No flutes.
No flutes.
No flutes.
Maybe a flute if you're Handel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Comfort ye my people, right? But there's something lacking in this is why we went through these songs, is there's something lacking in Christian music as a whole, where we just got done with a Tuesday Bible study through 2 Timothy of preach the word, right? And that's understood to be the whole counsel of God, which would then extend to discipling musicians into writing the entire counsel of God to music. And we just don't broach this kind of stuff. We just don't touch it. It has to be the happy clappy, make me feel better. And there is absolutely room for that kind of music. I'm not dogging on that music as a category. I'm dogging on that being the only tool in your toolbox, or the only, like if all you eat is steak, you never eat a vegetable, you're going to have a bad time, right? Your heart's going to clog up, and you're just going to die early. I think it's the same thing with music, art, all that kind of stuff. We need a balanced diet, whether that's laments, whether that's things that are on the happier side. Like, we need all of that. Christians, can we get on with this? Can we write music that gets all of these different emotions and that kind of thing? Like, I would love to see more. I'm not saying that this is going to show up on his radio. It's probably not the best
John
mass
doesn't even
market.
know his radio.
Yeah, K-Love.
I'm K-Love. Yeah,
it's not going to show up on K-Love.
My Bridge would be the local sort of Anyways,
right.
With the overly positive radio hosts.
Right. And I get it. It's not gonna get on K-Love, but we need that outlet somewhere.
Now, there is a difference between music that is intentionally capturing and sort of putting art to Christian truths, and music written for corporate worship. We need to be mindful of that. And sometimes those are one and the same. The happy, clappy, positive gospel praise narrative songs, those are fine, right? Because not everyone in the congregation, praise be to God, is going to be going through something like this.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why even in my own congregation, I get spicy about a lot of stuff. But one of those things is when we're really leaning into and I've mentioned this before on the show, the Lauren Daigle stuff, the Zach Williams stuff, that all talks about these temporal struggles, because in corporate, there's nothing wrong with the song capturing that reality. There's nothing heretical or inaccurate about it. But in corporate worship, we are putting words into the mouths of other people. We are stewards of that. And I'll spare people kind of the Latin and the dogmatic pieces here, but we need to be mindful about that which we put in other people's mouths, because it does have the tendency to come to fruition, or to change the way someone thinks in both good and bad ways. And so we need to understand really the motivation on why we use music in corporate worship, and that being to give voice to or to give accompaniment to the voice of God's people, right? To encourage and accompany that praying and praising and giving thanks, but also to educate. And so there's some middle ground where some of this content can definitely work there. There's plenty of stuff in the hymnal that broaches on this topic, but it does resolve itself within the context of the song.
Yep.
Most of the time, grab a hymnal out of the next church you're in that has them and start flipping through the Lent section if it's separated by church here. We're getting a little closer when we start looking at that, because traditionally in the season of Lent, which is right around the corner for many of us, I mean, we focus on the reality of our sin, the reality of the promised consequence for that sin, so that on Easter we can rejoice with the reality of the salvation from that sin. Yep. So the church has been there in the past, but the K-Loves, the His, the My Bridge, they're not hitting it now because there's not listenership there, at least not the same listenership that they've grown to depend on. So what we need is kind of a Christian heavy alternative sort of web platform, perhaps. I don't know. So there's my $3.02.
Would you like to give $3.03, Bradley? I mean, I agree that I think we need lyrics. We don't necessarily, not everybody needs death metal,
of course,
genre. I mean, like, not everyone is going to be able to. There are thoughts and emotions that these lyrics express that I would agree there needs to be room. Yes, in our liturgy, but I think also just in our personal journeys through life to express these things. It's just not everybody's going to do it with pig squeals.
Of course.
Right? I'm not going to do it with pig squeals.
You're in for something in a minute, man.
I mean, unless your sermon text is the sending of the demons out into the pigs. I mean, that could be. I mean, that's going to take resurrection to megachurch status.
For that series. For that sermon. John.
Yeah.
This is the
bring the livestock in, right? Just.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing. Oh. I had that thought in my head, John, and you just beat me to it.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. Fellas, appreciate it. And to you, thanks for listening. Go love God, love your neighbor, make some music, possibly about going to hell. We'll see you next time.